line, page Kutman. Prior to that, we spoke about Oipinimi and Oy Makif. And we were saying about Oy Makif. That Oy Makif is not really intended to be effective at anything. It's just revealing the and in this Siep, in this Ois, Nunches, Rebbe begins to explain to counter this. It says it's not. This is not what we meant to say, that makif does not have an effect. Makif does have an effect, and he goes into the world in a very internalist manner. And now in the third line he says, Adenabba, the contrary is true. Kol ikir mokin hayis havus. The entire principle, ikir, core, the source of his havus, of the creation, of coming into being, the chol ho'ilomes, of all worlds, hu mibchinas oir hamakiv. It is from that aspect of the oir hamakiv. This is what brings all the worlds into existence. We shall still discuss this. This is just, so to speak, the beginning of this. V'chein, and similarly, gam hagiluyim, the seder ishtalshulus. Further down, the giluyim seder ishtalshulus, that which comes into focus, throughout the seder ishtalshulus. Seder ishtalshulus means the chaining of the worlds. Ishtalshulus means when one, the interrelationship, one madrege causes the next, cause and effect, so to speak. Seder ishtalshulus. Shorsha mibchinas ha'ir makif. All the things that are being recognized in the world, in the Seder ishtalshulus, which is a world of recognition, are rooted in the ha'ir makif. The ha'ir makif is what substantiates all of these giluyim. Okay, again, we started with Vehinai. Keep your mind open, and this is the mitzvah going to unfold in some kind of a real thing. What are we talking about? Ubei ve'al yodei, and through the Oir Makiv, hu bechinas hagilui, the whole aspect of gilui, of bringing forth the bechinas teis v'seir v'chayis, of that which is called teis v'seir, addition of oir, an addition of chayis. Teis v'seir v'chayis, in simple terms, we can translate it in very simple terms, in our terms. There is the normal situation. A person has his koiches, he's able to walk. But to run, for example, is a completely different chayes. To run, you need a much higher inspiration and sort of chayes or koiches than to walk. Please understand what the difference between walking and running. Walking, you're totally dependent on the ground upon which you tread. You put a foot down and you push yourself from the ground and put the next foot. Running is a completely different experience. I don't have to say that, we are just alerting you to that. Running, you are completely off the ground. You're actually carrying yourself. Running has a standalone chayas. You're not ground dependent. Therefore, clearly, it needs tois chayas. It has an addition of basic chayas, or ability to move your limbs. It's chayas that carries it. It carries you. This is what tois chayas. This tois chayas is from oil makif. Okay, now we are on the first line. Similar to what we explained earlier in Perek Aleph. Over there we use the moshel to understand this oil makif. We use the Ratzon as the center, as the focus of oil makif. The Ratzon is an oil makif, but there are many other aspects of it. Ratzon is one thing that one oil makif that we can more readily identify with. So we use the moshel for Ratzon, the Ratzon. So we said like this: that when the Ratzon comes to the forefront and is revealed, and they say, as a result of that, who dafka is galus hakoiches. But the fact that the Ratzon gets revealed, this is how the koiches come to be revealed. Dafka means exclusively. Only that is what brings the koiches out. Otherwise, the koiches would be there, stay dormant. There's nothing to do. Ratzon is what provides for the koiches a platform and a significance in becoming active. And this is how the koiches come to express himself. Okay, so the reason we mention Ratzon over here is to substantiate what we just finished saying, that oil makif is the source of all chayes. Ratzon is an oil makif. So we explain. Okay, we continue in this line. So we explained there the Ratzon, that Ratzon. Despite the fact that it is totally in out of proximity to the other koiches. Muvdal means it's a completely different category than all the koiches. Mikomo etzam koich makifin. The koich representing the nefesh itself. We'll still come back to this. Mikomo kon yet still is galus hakoiches, the revealing of the koiches who alidei Ratzon dafka. This galus of the koiches comes as a result through the effect of Ratzon dafka. Ratzon exclusively is what brings the koiches out. Ratzon is what brings the koiches out. And now in parentheses, I'd like we should pay attention to this parenthesis. Because we just finished saying that Ratzon is muvdal. Muvdal means erech. It's in a different, categorically separate from all the koiches. It's in a category by itself. So we explained that the other half of the contrary is true. Not the fact that it is in a separate category, therefore it should not have effect on the koiches. The opposite is true. The yoise moved on mehem, because it is moved on mehem, because it is in a separate category and separate from the koiches, it harbors above them. Alkein, therefore, hu parei hu poil davke ha'his galus. This is why he has the effect. Davke ha'his galus, he causes the koiches to come forth. The Ratzon causes the koiches to come forth. Because the Ratzon is a super koyach. And now, the next line, the Hainu, which says, since as they say the Ratzon is a koyach, muvdal, is in a separate category from the koiches, so then how does it affect the koiches? It's out of proximity. How does that affect the koiches? The answer is פעולה שבדרך הכרח. The Ratzon cannot communicate with the koiches. He cannot come down and explain to the koiches what it is, why it is that he wants him to be active. The koiches cannot understand the Ratzon does not understand the koiches. He cannot talk to the koiches. It's in a completely different realm. But the Ratzon has the power to overwhelm the koiches and make them act despite their laziness, despite their own inclination. Because it is a superior, supreme spirit, and he doesn't have to reckon with the koiches. Ukmoi bitnuah gashmius. We'll take a very simple physical move, tnuah gashmius, a physical movement. It seems like a very simple action. Behizgalu shelahem. The hatnuah atzmo, okay, I went down. The hatnuah atzmo, with the movement itself, what enables the hand to move? It is the life force that's in the hand. That movement is from the echas pnimi. However, the ability to move is from the echas pnimi. But big day, in order that Nuah should actually act and move, the ability to move is in Kach Pnimi. But move, that is not, the Chayes Pnimi does not cause it to move. That can only be affected by the Ratzon. There is not an inherent impetus on the part of the hand or the foot to move, although it has all the capability to do that. To the contrary, as we all know, that we prefer to lazy out and just not do anything. From the perspective of the functioning koiches. And yet, but we do move. Why do we move? Because we have the effect of the Ratzon.
Wait, why do koiches pnimiyim prefer inaction? They're koiches, so why wouldn't they not tend towards action?
So this we discussed the other day, and we learned this earlier. Excuse me. Please understand. To walk consists of moving your feet. And moving from this place to this place to this place. Moving your feet in place is perfectly natural for the koyach hatnua in the foot. But to move out from the place where you are and go to the next place, the koyach hatnua cannot relate to that.
Right, and that's where Ratzon...
That's where Ratzon comes in.
So it's not that the koiches are lazy, it's just that they have no scope of activity beyond local, yeah?
True, correct.
Okay.
Correct. all movement, whether it be physical movement, moving a hand or a foot, or engaging your brain and your thought and your speech. All that entails that the person recognize his relationship to a bigger presence, to a bigger environment. That relationship to a bigger environment is not part of the koich itself.
That's provided by Ratzon?
That's provided by Ratzon. That's a makif. Let's re-engage what we discussed already previously, recently. According to the physical analysis of sight, you see an object because the light reverberates from this object and hits your eye. In this sense, you only see the object. You don't see the object in its contextual presence. Something burg, so to speak, triggered your sight and you see it. But that's not our experience of sight. Our experience of that whatever we see within the environment of its existence. Where is that from? How do we relate to that? What is that? Who creates that environment?
It's not triggered. It is rather we do what? We see everything in its environment.
Yeah. We see its environment because this seeing things in their environment is actually the presence of a Ratzon. I relate to the entire reality.
Mm-hmm. But so just to make that real clear, right? So it's not a response to stimulus, which would be the physical model. Rather, it is what? It is relating to the reality.
It's not a camera.
It's not a camera, no.
It's not a stone rolling down a hill or a kick.
That's right. It's an oil makif. It's a supreme quality in the person. It's called Ratzon. Everything that is my business. Not because it bothers me, but because it's real. I have a stake in it. Like we said, when the Rebbe created man, or the Manish, he said, be fruitful and multiply. If you be fruitful and multiply, you are undertaking a huge responsibility. You have to raise your kids, to provide for them. It's a huge responsibility. But that is what they wish for more than anything else. And then he says, fill the earth and keep sure and capture it. Who is the earth? What's wrong with what I have here, right here, under my seat? Fill the earth. That is the spirit that's in this. That's in the Nebuch. It's called the Ratzon.
And this.
But isn't the by definition movement necessarily exclude that has to remain in one place?
Right. You're gonna have to do that again, louder, clearly.
Isn't Noah by definition a form of movement, and then in that manner, how is it to remain in one place? Noah itself is movement.
Right. It cannot. That's why I prefer to stay in my place. I have the ability to move, but I don't have any cause to move. To arouse this ability.
And Ratzon is that arousal.
Yeah, I'm comfortable where I am. What do you mean to move?
But the Yaakov says Yeshli Kol. He's not lacking anything. He moves though.
Yeshli Koil. Esav said Yeshli Rov. Yaakov said Yeshli Koil. What does Koil mean? Yaakov had a completely different take on his environmental awareness. Esav had a take and said, okay, there is so much, let me capture it all. Yaakov doesn't need to capture. He related to the reality of it itself, the coil, the godly presence. Yaakov related to the creator of it rather than what was created. What is our function in Torah life? To serve the creator, not the world. To reveal the creator in the world. Okay, I'm not going to go there any further. So Tnuah, in order that Tnuah should actually be enacted, awakened, that is only to the Ratzon. We are on the line that is marked up by the little Kuf Zayin on the side. And for this reason, okay, this is a little bit subtle, and the Rebbe is talking about something that we have to focus in. Recognize what he's talking about. Alidei choili rachmon l'Islam. By the effect of choili, of a sickness, rachmon l'Islam. Begidei harotzen, in the veins of the Ratzon. If a person loses the impetus to progress, he has a Ratzon. I wished, and he has all the koiches, but there's no communication. There's no arousal of the Ratzon, and process to the Gidei HaRatzon.
Wait, he has Ratzon and it's not effective, or his Ratzon is absent? What happened to this guy?
Just as breathing, we spoke about this recently, right? You breathe the air that's around you, but ultimately you cannot live unless you take a little bit of that air and breathe it into nostrils and process it internally. Just being in the mass of air, that will not provide for actual life, for functional life. This is called Gidei HaRatzon. The Ratzon is there, but the Gidim, the veins that carry the Ratzon throughout the body throughout all the limbs and the koiches of the body. This is how the Ratzon reaches all the koiches. In effect, we said just before, a person is aware of the entire environment, of the broader environment. And because he's aware of the broader environment, he relates to it. But this relating to it at the Ratzon level will not cause him to pick up his feet and go there. The Ratzon has to send a message to the feet. Let's go there. This is called the Gidi HaRatzon. Just like the Gidim, there are veins that carry the blood, there are veins that carry the breath, there are veins that carry the Ratzon. The Ratzon has to be a specific command. Let's go there. I'm there already, I see it. So you see it, that's at the level of Ratzon itself. But I want that to be effective on the practical level. I want the foot to know that you see it. That occurs by the message that's sent to the Gidi HaRatzon. It's not automatic. And for this reason, because it's all dependent on the Ratzon, if there is a sickness, there's a sickness in the Gidi HaRatzon, in the messages carrying from the Ratzon into the rest of the body. Nifsag hatnuah, then the movement is interrupted. There's nothing, no message carried to the foot to move. Commission as we explained earlier. This is on the Gashmic level. It is also similarly true in the Ruchnis, in the Ruchnis of the Koiches. Ruchnis of the Koiches, this is a very phenomenal, it's an interesting thing. The Ruchnis of the Koiches, the spirit of the Koiches, the spiritual aspect of the Koiches, not the physical aspect that needs to be touched and forced, but the Koiches is alive. So they should be functioning all the time. Not so. As we shall now see. The Izgalus Shalahem, where the Izgalus, the expression and the revealing of the Koiches are Ruchniyim, Ruchnis of Koiches, Hu Alidei HaRatzon. It is affected through the Ratzon. It is the Ratzon that forces the Koyach to function as it should function, or to act as it should act. As the Chazal simply put it, and they say this: the oilam yilmid adam b'makim shli b'chofetz. A person should always choose to learn in that place or that subject and that inyan sheli b'chofetz, that his heart desires. You're going to learn. Learn is employing your brain. So what is wanting it in the heart have to do with the brain function. But yet the Chazal say that is exactly what you should do, and not only you should do, but la'olam. That is what you should do all the time. You should identify with that which you're going to learn. Because that is when it is going to be successful. Why? Because when he has a desire for this thing that he's going to learn, Yaskil v'yischakim poi. Yaskil, he will comprehend it, v'yischakim, and he will wisen, he will show his wisdom, his smartness. He will find insights in it. So it is the Ratzon, which is koyach makifi. This is what activates the koyach pnimi. Even to the extent of understanding something. As we said many times, you understand because you want to understand. This is not so to speak, a detriment in the understanding. It's not a real understanding. You understand because you want to understand. It's not that you really understand. No, it's not true. Your real understanding is dependent on wanting to understand.
This libui chafetz is higher than midas. It's higher than seichel. It's somehow.
This is makif.
Yeah, but still, we're using some kind of sense of ava or the yedias halev. It's not sickly. It's not.
What brings a person to want it is because he has a feel for it. But the ultimate effect is the fact that he wants it.
Okay, and that feel for it is not. It's not lower than. It's not midos. It's not emotional. It's a very high, sort of super seichel connection. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And what's ultimately being added here, meaning Ratzon is, we just established, is what enlivens and initiates the faculties. So what's the Rebbe telling us by this?
I know we have no patience, but
there's not lack of patience, just to know what we're being told.
No, okay. I will explain everything. Everything is laid out step by step. But when you ask a question, it's fine.
Yeah, no, but I feel
I'd much rather react when there's no question at all and we're just sitting there.
But it does seem like he's taking pains to tell us something by this example.
Yeah, but he didn't finish yet.
Okay.
Okay. So what do you ask? Let me explain. We said that without Ratzon, a person could not move a single step. Because what do I have to do with this other place? I'm here. If I should move out from here, I'll go over there. Ratzon is what gives an actuality to the bigger environment where a person is. And therefore it's a real place, and therefore I can move there. Now there is even a deeper inyan in the Ratzon itself. Yes, indeed, I see it, and it's real. This interest in what I see, please understand, please follow this, could be from two different levels. One is I see something, I get curious. It's in my environment. What's it? What is this? There's a completely different aspect of this. I actually feel a broader relationship. I feel my own existence to be broader than what is contained in my body. This is chayfetz.
Isn't that Ratzon per se?
It is Ratzon. Ratzon is the source of this chayfetz. Ratzon is the makif. But chayfetz is when I actually feel it.
More pnimi.
More pnimi.
The chayfetz is based on the Ratzon, which is ever present but not always sensed.
That's right. It's possible to want but not have a chayfetz. Chayfetz is you actually feel it. I desire it. You don't need it, but that's what I desire. Why do I desire it? Let's take this a step further. I desire it because, in fact, my nefesh is bigger than not being expressed in the whole world.
Again, it's bigger and thus will connect with the whole world.
Yep.
And why not? It's bigger, so everything else is trivial. Why it will connect?
It's bigger, which means it accomplishes everything.
PALTIEL, two questions. First of all, I don't understand where. Last time we learned Gidei was explained as the Ruchnistic counseling, and now it sounds like if it's affected by the sickness, then it needs to be a physical counseling.